7 50-point games, the latest one being 57 against the Grizzlies Wednesday night. The Beard has been cooking all season long, but where does he lie when it comes to the MVP ladder? Sekou Smith. And the ladder from last week. Watch the throne. There is a new occupant at the #1 spot. You see James Harden is sitting there. Giannis second, Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, Paul George. The MVP ladder, make sure you check that out on the app or on NBA.com. Great article written by our own Sekou Smith. By the way, just in case you don't know, the Greek Freak is going to have his first signature shoe coming out during the playoffs, so make sure you look out for that. Now, on to the business part. James Harden, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Gentlemen, I want to know, number one, who do you have for your MVP, starting with Rex?
I've got Giannis. I've seen both those guys, Giannis and James, play in the last 2 weeks. Was fortunate enough to see them play live. They're both phenomenal, amazing basketball players. They both do it in completely different ways. They dominate the game in completely different ways. But Giannis has his team atop the Eastern Conference. Nobody thought that going into the year. And I got to say, I saw him play the Celtics earlier this year. He was standing on the free throw line next to Al Horford. And he's a good 2 inches taller than the Celtics center. And this man plays point guard pretty much for them. He plays all over the floor. I don't know, I played against Michael and Magic and all those guys. I've never seen anything like him. I mean, at 20, what is he, 25? Even?
Still very young.
I mean, he's something else.
And watch out, because he's starting to shoot the three better as increases percentage every month of the season, so he's only getting better. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with Giannis as well, because one, his team is playing really well. And you look, they're #1 defensive rated team and they're #3 offensive rated team. You know, there's no weaknesses, and he's a big part of why there's no weaknesses, because he defends, he blocks shots, he also handles the ball, he penetrates, he dishes off to people, similar to Harden, but not shooting and scoring like Harden. But his effectiveness makes the team effective, and that has a lot of value for me.
Giannis turned 24 in December. Thank you, Justin, for that. But, I mean, looking at James Harden, number one, you just are in awe at the statistics he's put up this season. The 8 scoring outputs that are top of the NBA, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those top 8. Offensively, I mean, it's ridiculous. Is he the most unique offensive player that you've seen ever, from his ability to shoot the three at a high percentage, to get in the painted area and score, and also to knock him down from the free throw line, and not to mention what he can do getting his teammates involved? Your thoughts?
I'm amazed with what he can do, and he does it in slow motion. That's the thing. He's not bursting by you with great athleticism and bounce and all that. He's walking you to sleep, and he makes some of the toughest shots. One of the things, though, I noticed in the game I watched last week, they were playing at Charlotte, there are at least a half dozen possessions a game where he walks up and gets just across half court and stands there for the whole possession while Chris Paul and the rest of them play. They do it for about 6 possessions a game, and I just don't know how that's going to win in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think he's a great offensive player, great one-on-one player. He's got good size and good strength. People don't realize that he's a strong kid, and he has great stamina to do what he does offensively. There's been a lot of guys in this league that have been scorers, and he could be arguably one of the best. I go back to the fact that he could get up in the morning and never had any sleep and go to bed at 6 and get up at 8 and go out in the court at 9 and get 40 points. You know, there's a few guys that are like that, and they go play and they score. And that's what he does, and I feel bad for him being in the West and the struggles that they've had against the Golden State Warriors. But from an individual perspective, he is one of the great scorers and will go down as one of the all-time scorers in this league, along with people like KD. And I always go back to George Gervin. The same way. George, you walk on the court, you think you had George covered, and you got, dang, he got 38 tonight on me. Yeah, I thought I had him covered.
That's what George, he said to me one time. He said, people would ask him, what are you going to do tonight, George? He said, I'm going to give you 30. Whether it's a hard 30 or easy 30 is up to you.
Indeed. Had Austin Rivers in here earlier in the week, James Harden's teammate. The game he scored 58 points. He said he had no clue. He thought he had scored 30-something. So something he's able to do is get buckets with ease. Can't wait to see what happens with the MVP race again. Make sure you check out the article, NBA.com. Sekou Smith, salute to you. The Raptors Oh, speaking of George Gervin, we got some footage. How about this? It's not even Throwback Thursday.
One thing I can do is I can finger roll.
Yes, indeed.
Look at Ice. How much did he weigh, Lionel? How much?
Probably about $1.95.
Soaking wet.
Soaking
wet.
There's one thing, though. He was 6'8".
Ooh.
He could dunk on you. He could score in the post. He could score outside. And he probably would make threes if there was a three-point line for him to make.
Indeed he would. Indeed he would. The Raptors